This is step-by-step guide for implants in sites number 19 and 30 for our patient. We've created we gathered our DICOM data in the software. We're going to go ahead, since it's mandibular implants, we're going to auto-detect our nerves, hopefully map out, and then go ahead and looks good. Now we're going to go ahead and virtual wax up our tooth position in these areas. So we're just going to add a tooth. We'll fix that later on, just for now, just in the Panorex image. And we'll add another tooth here. So in this function, you can actually change the size of the tooth shape, get a larger tooth or medium. And even if you click on the tooth, if you're not happy with it, you can always change the tooth diameter. Change the transparency. There's all these cool little, remove the tooth, realign. To create a surgical guide, we're going to actually stitch in our mandible, and then we're going to plan our implant positions. So it did the auto stitch function, and now we're just going to go back in through here and make sure it's stitched properly. If not, we'll correct. It looks like it. There's a lot of scatter with metal. Just got to make sure that stitches properly so our implant's in the correct position. This outer line is stitching pretty well. There's a lot of things we can do to change that. All right, so what we'll do now is plan our implants in sites number 19 and 30. Implant, add implant, mandible. We're going to go with Blue Sky Bio. Or let's see, you can select any one of these implant systems, it doesn't really matter. We'll go Megagen, AnyRidge, and in the posterior, I like a 6.0 by 8.5. And this feature here, we're going to rotate it. Make sure I like where it's coming out. I don't really necessarily need the CT scan function anymore, so I'm going to turn that off. And make sure my wax up looks good. So I'll need to take this tooth and bring it over. Or even increase the size of it a little bit. Restorative, it looks like in a good position. I can bring it a little bit more over mesially just by dragging the tooth over and maybe realigning this. Do the same thing for this side. You can actually add another implant. You can go through this function here. If you like the size of this implant, you can actually right click and duplicate it and then drag the implant over. I'll fix this wax up. So I like where this is coming out. I don't love where this is coming out. So we will correct that here. Now it's time to select what guide you want to use. So at offset, it's the pilot drill guide. You can also do direct cut guide or a fully guided guide. And you can see that whenever you change the selection, now that we're done with the wax up, we'll just turn the teeth off. So that's your full arch fully guided, but you can see how it's impinging on this tooth. And it's impinging on that tooth. So I'm going to lock these implants because I'm happy with the position of them. And we can change it to, let's do pilot drill guide. All right, and you can see how it's changed the diameter of those, and this is a little bit better for us. The only problem now is the guide to diameter. So the inner diameter is a 3.2, and my drill is a 2.0 drill, so I'm going to change this to 2.1 and give it a 0.1 millimeter offset. That's one implant, and this is the other implant. I'm going to change this to 2.1. And there's my implants and my guide sleeve tubes. You can change this implant, which is number 19. This can change its ID. Change this ID to number 30. Now we're going to make our surgical guide. So for these arches, what I like to do is add a little window in the front to make sure it's fully seated in the front, because it's a little hard sometimes during the surgery. And then we're going to go into guide panel, which is on the right hand side here. If you don't see the functionality, you can click down in panels and add these panels to this side bar. So in guide panel, we're going to draw a curve, hold down shift button, There's our curve. That's it. All we have to do is create surgical guide. It's going to ask what is my short and my length of my long drill. I've already had these preset, and we'll save it, and it's going to go ahead and calculate our surgical guide for this case. Once that's done, you can see our surgical guide is complete. All we have to do is now export this to 3D print. So you'll do File, Export Data, and all we want to select is take off all this, and we just want to select the guide with Windows. Export this. It's going to deduct one of our plip bands, save it to the desktop, and that's it.